Hi, my name is Dawn Marie Marchand. I'm the owner and operator of Blue Horse Gallery and Studio in Smoky Lake, Alberta. My spirit name is Jipe Chapaweosqueo, Blue Horse Spirit Woman. Right now, we are closed because of COVID, but I wanted to take you through a really important installation that is here for National Truth and Reconciliation Day. In residential school, I learned to lie or be beaten. I learned to steal or go hungry. I learned how to be sneaky, to hide things to survive. Nancy Scanny had been visiting my parents when I came home with some of the artwork that I had been working with across the province. And as she was looking at the artwork, she said these words, and as soon as I heard them, I knew it was significant. So I went and grabbed tobacco and I asked her if she would make a brick that said that. And she said no, she wasn't interested in doing the artwork. The reason why I felt it so important to include these words was because it spoke directly to the fact that Indian residential school was more than just reading, writing, and arithmetic. It was socializing people. It was socializing people into poverty. So a lot of the values and the things that they took away from this experience were not things that they would have learned at home, because there wouldn't have been scarcity and there wouldn't have been need to do any of this just to survive. So they went from an abundant lifestyle to a poverty lifestyle, and they were socialized into it. And I thought that was a significant statement to be made. An Indian residential school survivor family member brought a copy of Stephen Harper's apology, residential school apology, to one of the workshops. Her concept was to show physically how that particular apology, ultimately the people that were around her and other residential school survivors told her that the apology didn't mean anything. It doesn't really matter to them. So we decided to blow it up as big as we possibly could, and we burned it with cigarettes, and we dropped tea on it, and scratched it up, stepped on it, jumped on it, really made it look like it had been not cared for. And we placed it into the very back of the installation so that everybody could see. One of the parts of Indian residential school story of Alberta that is not widely talked about has to do with the collaboration between the Alberta Eugenics Board and the Indian residential schools. Young people who may have had problems with their IQ, maybe they weren't good at reading and writing, maybe they came to school late, they were given IQ tests, and as a result of those IQ tests, they were taken and sterilized. And this happened throughout the 60s and 70s. It's a lesser known piece of the Indian residential school story, but it's devastating. So one of the recurring iconography that happened specifically amongst the survivors was the symbolism of eyes. And at first I thought that they were talking about people crying and stuff like that, but over time what had come out was that there was a fear among some survivors because they would wake up to eyes, blue eyes, staring over them in the middle of the night, and they knew that they would be assaulted. They didn't want to wake up to seeing blue eyes. Because I worked with the Indian residential school survivors, their children and their grandchildren when I did this project, I noticed a very pronounced theme within each generation of Indian residential school survivors. The survivors themselves talked mainly about the abuses that happened there, and some of them for the first time speaking of it in front of their own kin. Their children, their daughters and sons, they had a tendency to talk about the things that they lost as a result of residential schools. So they talked about the social issues that are in and the family dynamics that they were dealing with. And it was really easy to see which generation was being affected. think one of the most beautiful things out of doing this project was working with the grandchildren of Indian residential school survivors. Some of them hearing their grandparents' stories for the first time, and consistently they gave hope. They gave hope. I did this project in 2014 before the final TRC event in Edmonton. And even after all of these years, I cannot really spend a lot of time with this installation without it breaking me sometimes. I heard so many stories. I saw so many beautiful, beautiful things. I saw amazing resilience. I saw unbelievable brokenness. Thank you for spending this time with me today on National Truth and Reconciliation Day.